What's up, magical humans? Welcome back to your most magical life. I'm Mia Magic, and we are talking about New Year's. It's about time, right? I mean, the last couple of years haven't felt much more like anything but Groundhog Day, at least for me. I mean, cool things have happened, of course, like cool things are happening. But wow, it's been a lot. So what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video today is all about a powerful ritual that's actually really simple. It's not, you don't have to do anything specific. There's not like a ceremony that you have to do. It's just about how you spend your day. So augury is an ancient tradition, comes from the Romans, this particular term, and originally it was a system of divination. So anyone who's ever taken witch school, all my students, all my clients, y'all all know that for me, everything is information. Everything is an opportunity for divination. Like the color of my chair, like the peacock feathers, like the type of birds that you see pass by you in the morning. All of that is information. And so what augury once was, the original meaning of the word, was divination through the language of the universe, in particularly nature. Obviously, like before we had modern civilization, nature was all of the universe, right? That everywhere, that was it. It was just nature. So augury meant divining information through the birds or the clouds or the way that the wind was blowing, the way that the trees were moving, the way that the water was flowing. All of this was information for us to interpret in order to receive guidance or insight or really just any type of information from the universe to us. So that's the original definition of augury. And what we have done now in the modern day, you know, our Western culture has a ton of Roman influence. So what we've done is basically shifted it to mean almost the exact opposite, but still sort of be the same thing. So what I recommend to do on your New Year's Day that is so powerful is the easiest, most simple ritual that you can do that's actually incredibly impactful. And the last 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this have completely transformed my life. It's been absolutely magnificent and insane what is possible when you spend your New Year's Day doing augury. So instead of divining information from the natural world around you, you are the divination. You are creating the information for the year ahead of you. So what you want to do for augury is anything and everything that you want to call into your life for that year. So if you want to take better care of your body, maybe you go to the gym or you do a yoga class. If you're really calling in divinely aligned friendships, you want to make sure that you spend some time with people that you love, who see you, who feel you, who hear you, who make you feel magical or powerful or whatever it is that you want to feel. Maybe you dress in the way that represents the frequency that you want to embody. If it's more queenly or more royal or more powerful, what does that look like in your clothes? If you want to be able to afford nice things, maybe you buy yourself one really beautiful thing on New Year's Day. That was a really powerful one for me before I started making money. The first year that I really intentionally did augury, I was like, I'm going to be able to afford whatever I want this year. I'm going to be able to buy myself nice things. And so I bought a couple of things, but I went out and I got myself a beautiful pair of handmade shoes, a handmade bag, and 2 handmade dresses that really were just absolutely spectacular, gorgeous, beautiful. I met the artisans. I happened to be at a festival, so it was helpful, but I still have all of those things that I bought, and they really deeply represented to me that I can take care of myself this year, that I'm worthy of adornment this year, that I am abundant this year, that I can make choices based on what I desire as opposed to like what I can or can't do. And I sang songs, I did so many things, but I really just recommend that you make this your own. What do you want for 2022? What do you want in the coming year? If you really want to make money, make sure some money comes in. My partner, you know, like some people are on different pay schedules, like, you know, money comes in for me pretty much every day. But when my partner, who has his own company and like gives himself a paycheck at particular times, just like when everybody else gets a paycheck. He was like, okay, well, how am I going to make money on the 1st when like it's a holiday? And he was like, you know what? Everyone who owes me money, I'm going to call them and be like, you need to pay me today, January 1st, new year, like clear the debt out. And so he made like a couple $1,000s from people who owed him money. Now it's not like technically making money, but money's coming in, right? So that's all that matters. Even if somebody like hands you $1, it's still money coming in. So every year that I've done this, I've made more. So I think the first year someone was renting my car and I was gone. I was in a beautiful foreign country. It was magnificent. And I'd only charged her like $50 more. So she just paid the car payment and the insurance and an extra $50. And she paid me that. So I only made $50. But that first week of January, I made almost as much money as I'd made the previous year, just with $50. So then the same thing happened the following January. I made like 30 grand in the first week of the year. And then last year it was double that. And so like, it's just really, really amazing how we can, even with bringing in $50, the amount of money that you can start to make just by aligning with and attuning to that frequency of abundance. So I am super excited for especially the numerology of this year. 222 for me is my number that means that the goddess is with me. The basics of it, right, is that the 2 is the first separation. It's the first balance. It's the first polarity. It's the first anything other than the one, the all, the infinite, eternal energy or frequency or oneness that exists and is the fabric of life, is the intersection of all things. So the 2 is the first thing other than that, which is everything, right? So it can get a little convoluted. We're not going to get too into the numerology today because I really think, and I always recommend this to my students, that if you, so funny, it's 111 right as I'm saying this, I really recommend that everyone create their own numerological significance so that when you have an angel number come to you, whether it's 333, 444, 555, whatever it is, you have your own interpretation. You have what it means to you, so that if 333 shows up and for someone else that's their number of abundance, but for you that means your angels are there or like you're going in the right direction, that you're not like arguing over what it means. It's about what it means to you. So what does 2 mean to you? That is the important question. And it's really powerful to consider all the things that you want in your life. So what I'm going to be doing for New Year's Day is I'm going to be in sort of a personal retreat with myself. I'm going to spend some of the time in silence because I want more quiet in my life this year. I'm going to be deep on my creation because that is a huge goal for me this year, is to just be creating more for you guys. I'm writing my book. I have so much going on and I really just want this to be the year where many of the goals that I've had come to fruition and many of the projects that I've been working on are actualized. And so that is a big part of my New Year's Day is I don't want to be hungover. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to start with yoga. I'm going to eat really good food. I'm going to spend time with people I love. I'm going to do a sex ritual with my partner. I am going to be very intentional about everything that I'm doing. And mostly it's really just about creativity. What do I want to create for the year and how can I spend the day doing that? So I know that these last couple of years have been really challenging for so many of us. And so one of the things that I think is impactful and important is to really look at the elements of your mental health that have been challenged. Like for me as an empath and a teacher and someone who's really deep on my spiritual path, I've lost the plot a lot more than I would care to admit, but I always want to be honest and transparent with you guys. I've had more anxiety and more frustration in the last couple of years than I've had in, I don't want to say like my whole life combined, but a lot. And shorter fuse, like really easily frustrated. And for me, I don't want to like spiritually bypass and say like, oh, it's just the collective. It's not my fault that that's happening, because I take responsibility for my own emotional well-being and whether or not I'm able to really utilize my tools in the challenging moments. And I have certainly not done that every single time I could have. I've missed a lot of opportunities this year. But what is important for me is really to look at, okay, even if it was all completely my fault, like all of that anxiety was directly from me, or even if all of that anxiety came from the collective and came from other people's challenges and what everyone else was going through, How do I want to live my life and my day? And something that will be absolutely imperative for me is making sure that I am even keeled that whole day. Now, that doesn't mean not getting excited and totally enlivened and activated with gratitude and pumped up and woohoo, I definitely want to feel that. So I'm absolutely going to be dancing and singing and playing and laughing and just really creating that energy of appreciation and gratitude. But my intention, I'm sharing it with you guys, is to not feel anxiety for even a moment of the day. Or if it arises, to handle it so much differently, to be able to greet it and meet it and say, oh, hello, familiar old friend, very well aware of you. We've gotten to know each other very, very well over the last 30 years, but today is not the day. This is not the year. Right now, you and I, for this moment, we're complete. We're good because I have everything I need. And I am pretty close to being everything I want to be. There's always more. There's always growth. There's always new goals to achieve and accomplish. But that is a huge part of it for me. And so I really invite you to look at where your greatest mental health challenges have been. It really does to me feel like 2020 and 2021 were like 1 year. I'm like, can we just mush those two together and count it as one? But it hasn't been. It's been 2 years of a really different world than most of us were accustomed to living in. And it's going to impact us all differently. And, there's a lot of division and two different sides of many things. And, we're not like Canada that has 5 different political parties. We got 2 and you got to choose. And so for people that are more on the purple or more on the green side, which obviously I'm on the green side, there isn't a lot of freedom of choice. We don't have, or I personally don't feel like I have a leader that really deeply represents me. And so that can cause stress and anxiety, right? To not feel represented, to not feel heard, to not feel like who we are is worthy of being in leadership positions or being listened to. Like for me, like I said, with the green, I wish that I had a leader anywhere that I could look to that listens to the voice of the earth, that would, like we're talking about with augury, that would check in with the planet and be like, hey, do you have any bright ideas for how to lead us out of this mess? Because, I would really love to hear them. That to me would be like, oh my God, you're the leader of the free world. I want that, but that doesn't exist yet that I've seen. And so there are so many different factors for all of us in where our challenges lie, in what has made us feel seen or unseen, and what has made us feel hurt or healed throughout these last couple of years. And I know all of you who are here, you've probably used these last few years as an opportunity and really dived deeper into your spiritual journey, or taken witch school or some other program, or hired a coach, or really worked on who you are as a being. And that is great and amazing. Good job. Pat yourself on the back for that. And the work's not over. Far from it. So we get to keep doing it. So that is the biggest piece that I've been seeing for what's coming in this year, is really paying attention to what we've noticed over the last 2 years. What are the shadows? Because if you're anything like me, your darkest shadows have come out during these last 2 years. You have seen sides of yourself that you either didn't know existed or that you've been ignoring for far too long, because that was certainly my experience. Not that I was ignoring, but just I didn't know that there were still pieces that were that unhealed. I thought that I had already healed those wounds, and then just with everything that was happening and how much stress everyone was under and how much fear, at least in Los Angeles, there's been. And in a lot of places, a lot of major metropolitan areas, there's a lot of fear. And thank the goddess I live up in the mountains. But when I go back down into town, that's where I go into. And it's really hard for me. That's why I pretty much never leave my house. But it's okay. So when we look at all that fear that people on all sides are experiencing for different reasons and in different ways, we get to look at, okay, well, how did I respond? Where were my challenges when meeting the fear? How did my wounds show up? How did I triumph? How did I, fall? And looking at, okay, now what does that mean for me in the coming year? like I said, for me with the anxiety, it's like I will not allow anxiety into my field. I will not allow frustration or FOMO into my field on that day. I am going to be so structured and so committed to my path and my practice that day, because that is what I want to create, that I know that I will create a rock solid foundation for the coming year. So a little tidbit that is really helpful no matter what you are working on, and that I have found to be absolutely life transforming. I've mentioned this before in my high vibe music video, but singing, and it's okay, you don't have to be a good singer. It's not about the quality of your voice or the tone, but singing programs you. Music programs us. And so one of the pieces and practices that I've really been utilizing is mantras as songs in English. Now, of course, if you love kirtan, if you love singing in Sanskrit, then go right ahead and please do that if that is what resonates for you. I mean, I love kirtan. Shout out to Govindas here at Bhakti Yogashala, that's no longer open, but in LA, because he changed my life with kirtan. Changed my life. Singing the mantras, singing the holy names, singing the songs with this devotional quality changed my life. And prior to getting into kirtan, I really loved and still do love singing mantras in English. So Beautiful Chorus is a group that I really recommend. You can look up, Song Circle songs like from Singing Alive, which is this amazing song circle event. One of the songs from Singing Alive that I've been singing to myself lately that was passed to me by my dear friend Sycamore, who learned it from Lawrence Cole, who's one of the Song Circle elders, is the only question that exists is, will you be that light? Over and over. The only question that exists is, will you be that light? And I just been singing that to myself over and over and over again. Whenever I get frustrated, whenever I get anxious, girl, the only question is, will you be the light? Will you be the light? You gonna succumb to the darkness, or are you gonna be the light? I'm gonna be that light. Can I be that light? Will I be that light? Yes, I will be that light. Then one of the songs from Beautiful Chorus that I love is, I am everything I want to be, and I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be, and I have everything I need. And that is a powerful mantra on the first day of your year. I am everything I want to be, and I have everything I need. That can change the frequency of your year. If you are programming that into yourself on that day, believing it is true, oh my goddess, what could unfold? What could be born from that year? Now, one thing that I think is really just like for witches and pagans, and everyone's like, oh, but is January 1st, like, everybody knows January 1st is part of the Gregorian calendar. It doesn't mean shit. It's not a cosmological alignment. It's not actually the new year. The solstice is the new year. However, now there are lots of pagans and lots of witches and lots of earth-based spiritual practitioners all over the world. God has blessed them. Obviously, I'm one of them. And so I definitely did some of my augury on the solstice. Unfortunately, I got sick that day, so I wasn't feeling very well, but that is the technical new year. However, because of the 7 or 8 billion people on the planet who don't honor the solstice as the new year anymore, and instead January 1st is a new year, there is a massive portal on January 1st that occurs every hour on the hour when people all over the world, in whatever time zone they're in, scream and come together with Happy New Year! That is a portal. That is an energetic expression of expansion. We are moving into this new year. It's a rebirth. So really being aware, I don't know exactly how many time zones there are, but I know that like places like Australia and stuff are like 17 hours ahead of us. So there's at least 17 time zones, maybe like 18, maybe it's a whole 24. I don't know, but I could have looked that up. Sorry, but like Google, So every hour on the hour, it becomes midnight somewhere else. So everybody is feeling that Happy New Year energy. So that is why we really, from my perspective, doing augury on the first of the year is because everyone on our planet is aligned with that. Everyone's in agreement around that. Is it right and in agreement with the cosmos and the universe? No, not necessarily. So like you get to choose, but the solstice is past. And so on New Year's Day, on January 1st, when you are in alignment with every other human being on the planet who's agreeing that this is the new year, which I mean, like there's Chinese New Year and Jewish New Year, so not everybody is like fully in that, like this is the new year, but there are parties, gatherings, and that statement happening all over the world, no matter what, every hour on the hour. And so there is a beautiful opportunity to use this practice of augury, to use this New Year's Day to really create the kind of year that you want to create. So some of the little last things that I would recommend is like, don't use plastic. Compost all of your organic materials. Really pray over your water. Send your intentions into your water, maybe even create a giant jar of water that you program with all your desires, and then you take one sip for every day of January, and you're like sending all of your desires, all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your intentions into that water, and then water holds memory, so you're drinking that every day for 30 days. What can you do to heal on that day? To heal the challenges that our planet and our species has been experiencing? Doing breath work is so amazing. Our lungs are the first line of defense for our immune system. They are also, representative of our mind, our intellect. The breath is the communication. It's the communication from the divine. It's communication between people. And so, we've had this issue with the lungs and being very, very based in fear, again, regardless of what you believe, but there's a lot of fear of like these people or those people, and this is wrong or this is bad. And that fear suppresses our immune system. Fear is the number one suppressant of our immune system. And again, the lungs are the first line of defense. So really just looking at, okay, how can I tend to my lungs? How can I tend to my mind? How can I tend to my breath? How can I tend to the air within me that is my thoughts? What kind of thoughts do I want to make sure I'm not thinking that day, right? And anytime you need to get out of those thoughts, use one of those mantras. Doesn't have to be any of the ones that I just said, but like find the one for you. You can make up your own song, like you'll see in my video with Sky. She's like, I am free, I am free, I am free. Something like that. I forget her melody, but like, you can just do whatever it is that's right for you. Make it your own, but shift out from any of the negative thoughts of like self-doubt or you're stupid or you don't know what you're doing or magic isn't real or like witches are evil or whatever it is. It's la 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 la. It's just like, ah! I am free, I am free, I am free. Or I am everything I want to be. Whatever it is, right? You can shift that. Those are really great practices. And again, I just really highly encourage and ask. I humbly ask, honestly, like I would get down on my knees and beg you, every single one of you watching this video, please do everything you can to be conscientious of the planet that day. Do everything you can to honor her. Go out and listen to her. Like I said, like be a leader that goes and asks the earth. I always recommend the channeled writing practice. You can say, I call upon Mother Earth, I call upon Pachamama, I call upon the goddess Gaia. Please write to me, through me, anything I'm meant to receive in this moment. How can I hear you better? How can I connect with you deeper? Whatever works for you. And then let her write through you. Let her guide you. That is truly one of the most impactful practices in my entire life. I do it with the dragons, I do it with the redwood trees, I do it with the flowers, I do it with the goddess, I do it with all kinds of things. I mean, I am a Gemini, that is the messenger of the gods. So it's a helpful practice for the astrologically aligned in the way that I am, but all of my students, clients, all of my friends who I've given this practice to all have really powerful, beautiful experiences as well. So it doesn't matter what sign you are. So I am so excited about this coming year, y'all. I am ready. I have an absolutely profoundly beautiful program called Sorceress Brewing in my cauldron that will be released in February of next year. And it's going to just be all about how to source your own power from the earth, from your sexuality, from your purpose. And it's going to be so magnificent. That's really the biggest thing that this year is asking of us. That 222 is asking us to find balance, asking us to be our own source. What are we creating and where is it coming from? Where are we sourcing our creative life force energy? And how do we utilize that in our relationships, in our career, in our abundance, our finances, in our sexuality, in everything that we do, in the health of our bodies? So I'm planning on a great year, y'all. I hope that everyone is on board with me. I know that we can change the world. And I always talk about this Margaret Mead quote, but she says, "Never doubt that a small group of committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has." So you don't need an army. You need yourself. You need your own devotion and commitment to being the change you wish to see in the world. And that is the most important thing you can do on that day. Of course, call in your dreams and call in your visions and your desires and be the change you wish to see that day. That is what my intention is. And I hope that we can all do that together to truly allow this coming year to be one that is new in a different way. Not like the most fear and the most terror and the most division and separation that we've ever experienced, but the most connection, the most awakening, the most impact and philanthropy and service to the planet, the most listening to this gorgeous goddess that we live on, this living planet. So thank you all again so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I am Mia Magic, and this is your most magical life.